What do you do when you get your laptop wet? Well, Andy with his flotation devices will show us on this hour of Call for Help.
I hope these people can help me with my computer. A technician will be with you in 4 hours. 4 hours?
You can upgrade for just $5,000.
What?
The Universal Serial Config board should be set to ID6.
I need that in plain English. Help!
Leo Laporte at Call for Help. May I help you? Welcome to Call for Help. It's Call for Help time, everybody. Quick, 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 quick. Run into the living room. Turn on the TV. Well, I guess if the TV weren't on, you wouldn't hear me saying this anyway, would you? Never mind. Hi, I'm Leo Laporte. Welcome to the show where we show you how to get the most out of personal technology. Joining me, my Call for Help team. Monica Latanwa.
Beach ball team.
and Andy Head Walker. You ever play football?
Yeah.
You notice I call it football?
Football, yeah.
Not
I
soccer?
play football, not soccer. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
It was big sport here in Canada.
Sure.
As in the States.
And you grew up in England too, though, where footy is like it.
Yeah, I started, playing soccer a long time ago when I was a really wee guy.
A wee guy?
Small guy.
Yeah.
Little boy.
Now you swim.
And he's got Barbie water wings. That's very,
You
very
look sexy.
manly.
Thank you very much.
Is this what the kids are wearing in clubs these days?
Oh, yeah.
With the pacifiers and the glow sticks and the Barbie water
Well, it's better
wings.
than cosmetic surgery.
And
Bigger muscles.
diapers.
They go to raves and these. Oh, please. He's buff.
Yeah.
Hey, what are you doing on the show today, Monica?
Well, I'm going to show you how to tune up your PC and
Tune up your PC.
and how to trim your MP3s.
You can tune a piano, but you can't tune a fish. And Mr. Andrew Walker, what are you doing?
The reason for the flotation devices is I'm going to be working with water today.
Okay.
Because, of course, water gets into your laptop occasionally, and sometimes other things.
You're not going to submerge a laptop, are you?
Not submerge it, splash it, perhaps.
Are you really?
Yeah, I am really going to, yeah.
Brave man. We have a water tank, a dunk tank here?
We have a Barbie swimming pool.
Oh, well, all right.
So
That went along with this.
Yeah, we've kept
Nice
that.
biceps.
We keep that behind the set, for little, hot
right.
days. Yeah. Also coming up, John Christopher of Drive Savers is back. He's going to show us some amazing hard drive horror stories. All of them with happy endings. That's what they do. They save hard drives. And he'll also have some video of their clean room where they wear the bunny suits and they fix the hard drives. It's going to be a lot of fun. Meet Andy Walker.
See,
He's a
this is
Jetsons fan. You're a big. You're a big Jetsons fan.
I'm a huge Jetsons fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up with Saturday mornings.
Yeah.
Working on a little book project.
Meet George Jetson. Meet
Please, how you
our
pretend you
caller.
have,
That's good.
license.
You look like Arnold. You look like the governor of California. So, tell me, do we have any calls today?
Yes, we do.
Let's
We
take
got
it.
Joseph from Dallas, Texas.
All right, let's
on
say hi to Joseph.
Netcam.
On Netcam, I love that. Hey, Joseph, how are you?
Hey, I'm great.
Welcome to the show.
Hey, can I mention something really quick?
Yes.
Dan, Derek, Smooshy, and Tweaks wanted me to put the chat room.
You're in my KFI chat room, huh?
Yeah.
What's your handle, Joseph?
Smooshy?
Oh, you're Smooshy?
Yeah.
This is finally, I get to meet Smooshy. You don't look like a Smooshy. Hey, it's so nice to meet you. Smooshy here, Joseph here, is one of the moderators of the chat room that we run during the radio show. We got to do that for the TV show. It'd be kind of fun to do that for the TV show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, nobody in the States can see the darn thing, so I guess it's going to be kind of weird to be in a chat room for a show you can't see.
Yeah.
Of course, you guys don't listen to the radio show anyway, so I don't know what I'm talking about. What can I do? What can I do for you today, Joseph?
I'm a new digital camera user.
Oh, cool.
And I wanted to know about the basics of digital cameras with things like ISO speed, shutter speed, exposure, and other features like that.
Lots of interesting stuff in this arena. What kind of camera do you have?
Canon PowerShot S410.
Oh, kind of like this. I just borrowed this from John Christopher of Drive Savers. This is a S230. This is the older model, but it's kind of like this. They call them the digital elves. I really like these. They're very nice. Yours is a 4 megapixel. One of the reasons I like them is because you see how the shutter is protected. First of all, they're very small, fit in your pocket. The shutter is protected until you turn it on. And I kind of like that, too, because it means that you don't have to worry about a lens cap or anything and when it's in your pocket. Plus, it's a nice metal case. You happy with the images you're getting from it?
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's just that the case gets scratched a lot.
Yeah, well, it's aluminum. It's going to get scratched up. It's like my PowerBook, same thing. But at least the case is getting scratched, not the internals getting mushed up, right? Or smooshed up, I should say. Well, let's talk about some of the terms that you see when you're using digital cameras, particularly in the menus. ISO is a very important one, as it turns out, one that a lot of digital camera users don't pay any attention to. Well, on film cameras, the ISO rating relates to the sensitivity of the film. The higher the ISO number, the more sensitive the film is. So if you're shooting, most film is somewhere from ISO 50 to 125. That means it's fine in daylight, and in a darkened room it's going to need a flash. If you're shooting in a darkened area, you might use a higher or a faster film or a higher ISO rating, 400. Sometimes you'll even see 800 or even 1600. In fact, when you go through the airport metal detectors, they say anybody with 800 or higher film should hand it to us for inspection. That's because the film is so sensitive, it's so fast, that the X-rays would actually start to expose the film a little bit. Well, what does that mean on a digital camera? There's no film. What it means is you're telling the camera how sensitive to be to light. So if you're shooting in a darkened room, for instance, turn the ISO level up. What are the consequences of that? Well, the image is going to be slightly more grainy, but at least you will be able to get an image. I think a lot of lower-end digital cameras don't have an ISO setting. If yours does, that's a great thing, and you should pay attention to the ISO setting. And when you're in a darkened room, you should turn that ISO up. Most cameras default to 200. An ISO of 200, which is kind of a good middle-of-the-road ISO, but some of them go up to 1600 or even higher, 3200. And just notice that you're going to get some grain. What are some other things that? What are some other terms that you mentioned? Aperture, shutter speed, that kind of thing, or?
Yeah, shutter speed.
Yeah. Well, again, you have to go back to film cameras to think about shutter speed and aperture. The shutter speed is how fast the shutter takes the picture. A faster shutter speed means it'll freeze motion. The aperture is how wide the opening is. Wider opening lets in more light. Now, normally what will happen on a camera when it's set for automatic is it will balance the aperture and the shutter speed so that it's bright enough. But you can set these, in most cases, to priority shutter or priority aperture. If you're, for instance, taking pictures of race cars, where you really want to make sure that the shutter speed is going to be high, 1/2000th of a second or higher, because you want to freeze the motion, you'll say, shutter priority. I want to make sure the shutter speed's fast. You adjust the aperture, the opening, to make it bright enough, but make sure that shutter speed stays at 2000 or 4000 or a higher shutter speed. Vice versa with aperture. The reason aperture can be important is depth of field. A wider aperture means you're going to have lower depth of field. The stuff in back of you will be out of focus. The focal plane will be narrower. A narrower aperture means more stuff's in focus. If you're taking a picture where you want to see everything, for 20 feet, the foreground and the background, you want to have a narrow aperture. You say, I want aperture priority. Let me set the aperture low. You slow down the shutter speed to make sure there's enough light. These all come from actually film concepts. There's still a shutter and there's still an aperture on digital cameras, but it really is more of it makes sense in a film context. It might be a little harder to understand in a digital camera. What else did you see in the menu that you didn't understand?
Exposure.
Well, exposure is really usually how long the picture is held for, how long the shutter is open for. And if a shutter is open for 1 second, of course, more light comes in. If you're taking a picture of a city at night where there's not a lot of motion, you might have a very high exposure time so that you can get everything. But remember, 1 second exposure time means anything that's moving is going to be a blur in there. Sometimes they do it on purpose. Sometimes you'll see these beautiful pictures of waterfalls where the water looks like this beautiful curtain. It's because they have a high exposure time because the water is moving and it kind of blurs itself out. And of course, a short exposure time means less light gets in, and that's kind of shutter speed basically. I mean, the faster the shutter speed, as I said before, the better you'll be able to freeze objects. Does that kind of help you? Canon actually apparently has a very good information site for all of these terms. Katya was telling me. Do you remember what what is the URL, Katya? You could pop it up if you've got it, and we could. Go ahead, put the key up. Here you go. This is a site that Canon has. I actually haven't seen this, but Katya found it, that apparently describes all these terms and more. Do you like your digital photography? You happy with it? There it is. No, that's not it. That's my site. That's where I am. I don't know where it is. Well, I know, but you don't have the key up? Go ahead, put the key up for me. Doesn't fit. All right. Well, let me look at my email and I'll see if I can get it. Anyway, we'll get it for you before the show's over. No, it's a long URL. Apparently, won't fit in the. Won't fit in it. Anyway, thank you for the call, Smooshy, and I do thank you for being such a great chat room moderator.
Thank you.
All right, and I hope you'll have a great day and be a regular caller to call for help, even if you can't see it.
I hope so.
All right, take care. Bye, Joseph.
Bye.
Take care. That's a nice picture we're getting, don't you think, on those net cams?
They're fantastic.
Yeah, it's really great. Thank you for the call. Now, when we come back, it's raining, it's pouring. Will Andy be snoring in his Barbie swimming pool? And what is this all about? We'll find out after this short break. Stay right here. How many times has this happened to you? You're out in the rain, or you're on the ocean, a lake, or river, and your laptop gets full of water. I know it happens to me all the time. What do you do? What will you do? Andy's chilling by the pool with his answer. Many people don't realize we use this pool to cool off on a hot Toronto day. Who let vacuum here? All right, so you having fun?
I'm having a great time on the show. It's hilarious.
So what do you got? You're not going to get this laptop wet, are you?
Yeah, I am. I'm going to make this laptop soaked.
But this is not a waterproof laptop, though.
Yeah, well, it's water. That's what they call water resistant.
IBM says that?
Yeah, they do.
Not all laptops should. You shouldn't do this at home, right?
Well, no, you probably should not demo this at home. But IBM's given me permission to do this.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But
they know you're doing this, huh?
The RT and X series ThinkPads for the last couple of years have had this water-resistant tray in the keyboard.
Neat.
So I'm actually going to take some water, real water.
And you're going to pour this on the computer?
I'm going to pour this on the computer.
I don't know. Are you going to do it now?
Well, yeah, okay. I'm going to pour it on right now.
Oh, yeah. This makes me... Oh, no. Oh, this is a nice laptop.
It's a very expensive laptop.
Oh. Now,
now what am I going to do now?
I would turn it upside down and drain it out.
Well,
right?
so what I've done is I've removed some screws on the back side, and so actually the keyboard is removable. Or it comes up, and...
Oh, you can just drain it out.
So you can drain it out, right?
Now, but what about all those electronics in there? Aren't they going to get wet?
Well, the idea... No, they didn't. In fact, it's actually nice and dry in there.
Look at that.
As you can see.
I'll be darned. Now, we'd want to get... Do we have any paper towels or something? Because we want to...
Well, I have a hairdryer.
Okay.
And this is what, if you really did this, this is what you're going to want to do. You're going to take a hairdryer, and you're going to want to gently dry it out.
First thing to do is unplug the darn thing and pop the battery so that there's no juice. Because the worst thing that could happen is if you get a short circuit on this stuff. Because you got the battery in there. Let's take that out. On a laptop, even if it's unplugged, you might still have power going in there.
Yeah.
So let's get that. Now we've taken that out. There's no chance of a short circuit. What we'd hope is that we can dry it out.
Right.
If it were coffee with cream and sugar,
you'd be in trouble. You would be in trouble. But you could potentially. I mean, I did this one time with a Toshiba laptop. Didn't have this feature at all.
Yeah.
And I rinsed it gently.
Rinsed it
upside down.
Here, give me some paper towels because we want to mop up the excess there, right? I mean, we don't want to. We kind of like to get as much off as we can.
Yeah. So what I do with
watch the hairdryer, please, Leo. Don't drop it in the pool.
It's electrifying. All right. So we're going to dry it off?
So dry it off, yeah.
But it was set on the low, right? We wouldn't want to have it too hot.
Very gently, not non-direct heat, if you can avoid it.
Okay. So now the other way to do it, if you can wait, it'd be better is probably just to wait a day or two and let it dry, air dry.
You could actually put it in a warm room, or I had one guy tell me to put it in the oven, and I wouldn't do that.
Yeah,
especially a microwave oven.
No, don't microwave it. But if you're patient, probably the best is air drying.
Yeah, I actually put when I wetted my Toshiba, I rinsed it all. And
are we going to boot it?
Yeah, we can use it if you like. Oh, do we need to put the battery? Give me the battery back.
Well, I want to make sure it's all dry before we boot it. I'll tell you what, why don't you dry it, and at the end of the show, we'll see if we can boot this thing, okay?
Yeah, sure, sounds good.
Make sure it's all dry. So, again, not for every laptop, but if you're fortunate, if you get the power out, you turn it upside down, drain out all the liquid.
But even if you don't have this IBM feature, dry it off, put it in a warm room with a space heater, or just a warm room, and leave it for 24 hours to dry.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
And this T32 is a very nice laptop. I really like this laptop.
It's the X40.
It's the X40?
Yeah.
Well, we had the wrong. It says T32. Turn that off. It's an X40. Forget about it. See? X40. They couldn't read that. Hey, thank you, Andy. I'll let you have that back, and at the end of the show, we'll see if it boots. He's going to dry it off. Still to come, more of your calls, but right after the break, the free file of the day. And much like the X-Files, you might be surprised to find out what's out there. Stick around. But first, it's time for our quiz of the day. The precursor to the modern internet was called Skynet, Lynx, ARPANET, or HairNet. Get to the website, give us your answer. We'll talk about it when Call for Help continues. Stay here. We've cleaned out the swimming pool area. This was our swimming pool, but now we've cleared it out because Monica's going to give us the free file of the day. It's amazing how quickly they struck that swimming pool. But I know Sandy's still wearing the water wings. He hasn't given up yet. What's our free file of the day today?
Our free file for the day today is MP3 trim. Trim? Yes.
All right, let's see it.
And
what are we going to trim? Their hair?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
No. I don't have enough to trim. I paid a lot of money for this wig.
Oh, geez.
Keep going. Show us the software.
Okay. This is what it looks like right here. Can you see that? Mm-hmm. Okay. And I've opened up a song from Maroon 5, actually. And what you can do...
I like the Maroon 5.
Yeah. See, my problem is why I need MP3 trim is usually when I'm cooking. I've got, my MP3s playing on my computer, but then it's, one song is one.
Oh, the levels are all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah. Another one is. So I'm usually running back and forth, adjusting the volume.
So this will take care of that?
Yeah, this will normalize the volume on your MP3s.
So they're all the same?
Yep. Okay. Well, as close as possible, at least. And it'll trim the silence in the beginning and in the end.
Sometimes when people make MP3s, there's a second or two of silence.
Yeah, and in the end as well.
Yeah, and that's annoying, too, because you're listening and then there's just...
silence.
That's no fun.
Oh,
so this will get rid of that, and it'll get all the levels the same.
Yeah, and you can actually... make it fade up or fade out depending on the songs, right?
Neat.
Yeah. So this is the program. It's just a matter of uploading your song or opening your song. Just click auto. It'll do that for you. Auto.
Do it automatically. Trim it and normalize it.
Yeah, and look.
Look how fast that was.
So apparently this song was really loud and I had to bring it down a little bit.
Wow, that's great.
And you can make it fade in, fade out, and that's it.
MP3 trim.
Yep, and you can get that at the Logicel.com website.
Or get a link at callforhelptv.com, and the price would be... free! Oh, because it's a free file of the day. I get it. All right. Hey,
and what's great about this is actually you can fit more MP3s onto your CD, right?
Why? How can you do that?
Well, because it trims it down, right? So.
Oh, yeah, so there's no wasted space.
Exactly.
No silence taking up space.
Yep.
Hey, do we have another caller?
We do. We've got Ed from Portage, Michigan.
Portage!
Hi, Ed.
Portage! Hello, Ed. How are you?
Very good, Leo.
Welcome to the show.
I like how you say it, portage. It makes me sound rich.
It's portage, isn't it?
Yes.
Here in Canada, they love the French pronunciation. So they say portage.
Yeah.
Well, portage. I am Leo Laporte. Where is Portage?
It's right by Kalamazoo, Michigan. It's western Michigan, about halfway between Detroit and Chicago.
Oh, okay. So it's kind of over here a little bit on the hand, right?
Yeah, I keep moving closer to where you're shooting your show, I guess. I used to be in Mountain View, California until last year, and now I'm over here.
Just go a little bit north, you'll be here. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what can I do for you today?
Okay. Well, first of all, I'd like to say it's great to see you back, first of all. I hope you get your show here in the States again soon.
We will. I feel very confident. We're just starting out. This is our first month. A lot of interest from networks all over the world. Of course, they wanted to see the show, and since we hadn't done any shows, there wasn't any way to see it. So now that we have some shows in the can, I think that they will take a look. And, I feel pretty good about what we've been doing. I think, in many ways, this is the best call for help ever. So I have no doubt at all that you'll see it in the States soon.
Oh, great. That'll be terrific. I've been a big fan. I've watched you for quite a while now.
Oh, thank you.
My question, I'm hoping you can help me here. It concerns Linux for the Macintosh.
Okay.
I've got an old 7300 180 and been tinkering. I've added a few things like a 40 gig external hard drive to it.
Right.
I found a SCSI one, believe it or not.
Wow.
And partitioned it, so I've got a couple of 4 gig partitions in it, and thinking, well, I can add Linux on it now. I had a free version of the PPC Linux, I think it was. I got
right.
at Macworld Expo a few years back, but
right.
in the chaos of the move, I haven't been able to find it. And I've looked on some websites for PPC Linux, and I'm not sure if they're even around now.
Yeah, they are,
Linux
actually.
Website is still up, but I haven't been able to link to the FTP.
There are two Linuxes for Macintosh, and depending on which Mac you have, you would choose from one or the other. There's Yellow Dog Linux, which really runs still on the newer Linuxes. That's yellowdoglinux.com. Newer Macs, I should say. It actually even runs on the G5s. But for older Macs, I think you're right. The PowerPC Linux was probably a better choice. They're around, but they're under a new URL. It's penguinppc.org. penguinppc.org. Now, the thing is, can it run on older Macs? And now what they say here is all Power Macs before the G5 are 32-bit PowerPC. Information about very old pre-PCI Macs can be found at the NuBus Linux project. So yours is still a NuBus Mac, isn't it?
It's a 604E chip, so...
But the bus itself, I think it was before Apple went to PCI. I think there was... Well, maybe they went to PCI by then. So you'll have to figure out whether you go to penguinpc.org or NuBus Linux. Annie, you were looking and see?
I was looking at that site. Yeah, if you go to penguinpc.org/projects/HW.
Yeah.
It says, looking to see, it's a hardware compatibility
Oh,
list.
so it'll let you know which Mac it'll work on.
Yeah, so if you go to Apple, actually, I think he's a Mac's.
He's a 7300.
Yeah.
Yes!
There you go.
So it will work. You'll be using BootX as the boot manager for it, but it tells you all about it. So that's great. So that's penguinppc.org. Now, what are you going to do with it once you put Linux on there, Ed?
Tinker with it mostly.
Yeah. You can't run OS 10 on a Mac that old. So it's worth, you got a computer with nothing you can do with it except
I was visiting back in the Bay Area last month and talked to somebody at the Apple store there in Palo Alto, actually. It's non-supported, but if you put an upgrade processor card in, I guess it will.
Yeah, well, and then you also have to run some special software because Apple has the OS 10 installer looking to see if you've got an upgrade card, and it'll say, no. But there is some software that will allow you to trick the OS 10 installer to running. It's a lot of work, and the truth is it's not going to run very well. I think you're better off putting Linux on there. It's a good operating system, but it'll run on these older processors and run at a reasonable speed. So that's where PPC went. It is the new home of Linux PPC. It's penguinppc.org. Okay, still open source, still freely downloadable, and they have a lot of help on that site as well. And then if you had a really old Mac, a NuBus Mac, like a 2FX or something, then there even is a Linux for that now. So you can, on almost any Mac that was ever made now, you can run Linux, which is pretty cool. Hey, thanks for the call, Ed.
Well, thank you, Leo. Good luck with the show.
And I thank you. And we'll get in Michigan. We're working on it. We'll get down there to Portage. Maybe we'll do a show in Portage.
Portage.
We'll be looking for you in Portage. Yeah.
Thanks, Ed. Take care. Coming up, John Christopher from Drive Savers is back. He's got some tales of woe, some tales of laptops run over by trucks, sunk in the ocean, all sorts of messes that they've been able to fix. You stay right here. Welcome back to Call for Help in Life. Moving house, getting married, or losing a loved one are some of the most stressful moments a person can endure. What happens if that loved one is your hard drive? John Christopher of Drive Savers is here to tell us some hard drive horror stories, most of which would have happy endings. John, welcome back. It's great to have you once again from Drive Savers, all the way from California.
Thanks so much for having me. I feel like like we're family now. Do you mind if I call you Uncle Leo?
You call me Uncle Leo. How many times have you been on call for help now? This is,
more fingers than I have. I think.
Well, that's great. Well, it's really nice to have you up here in Toronto.
Yeah.
Drive Savers rescues hard drives, rescues data from the hard drives, right? Yeah.
Right.
And you've been doing that since, you said, 1985.
1985,
Wow.
way back in the day.
Wow, that's amazing. Things have changed quite a bit.
Right.
What happens now? Let's say I've lost my hard drive, the data's gone, or whatever. I'm freaking out. I call you. What happens? You have a counselor?
Right. We have a woman named Kelly Chesson who is our data crisis counselor. And it sounds funny.
She's trained in this, right?
She actually has a degree in psychology. And she's done training on suicide hotlines and prevention. And so
are people that freaked out?
A lot of people are, because, you got critical data and we rely on computers so much these days that people, they have a lot riding on them. They could lose their jobs. They can lose their houses. They can lose lots of stuff. So, so what she does is she deals with the very stressed out people.
She talks them down.
Exactly.
And then tells them. Now, you probably have to have somebody also when you tell them what the bill is going to be to talk them down. Because it's not, I should warn people, it's worth it if you've really lost your data, but it's not cheap.
Yeah, absolutely. What Drive Savers is all about is absolutely critical data when you must get it back and nothing else works.
It's your novel. You have no other copy of it.
We're really the brain surgeons when it comes to doing data recovery. So it's a specialty. So the average price is about $1,000 for data recovery.
Just so you know.
Yeah.
But you're the only ones who can do it because you've got a clean room. In fact, let's take a look at the clean room. This is where you take the hard drive apart.
Right, exactly.
And it has to be clean. Why?
Well, it's a dust-free environment, and as you see, the guys are wearing special outfits there. And the drive itself is a mechanical device, and if any kind of airborne particles get inside, it could destroy what's there because the read-write heads could hit that area.
Look at that gouge out of that one. That's a bad crash.
Head crash on that one. Exactly. So we have this certified clean room, and drive manufacturers come and review our facility all the time. And
that's really cool. What are some of the weirdest computer disasters you've experienced?
It's interesting because every day it's a new day at Drive Savers. And the one that I brought for you today is actually a laptop that was run over by an 18-wheeler.
How did that happen? Watch out!
According to the customer,
sometimes customers lie, but anyway.
Now the customer lived, so he could tell the story. The laptop was not quite as fortunate as he was, but what happened was
this is it, by the way.
This is the one, he's from New York City, and he works for Oppenheimer, and he was crossing the street, and he had his laptop in a bag. And he was running across the street trying to make the light, and he dropped his laptop in the street, and he tripped, essentially. And like all good New Yorkers, he got up and looked both ways to see what was going on, and this 18-wheeler came barreling down the street and just ran this guy right over.
He had it in a case, actually.
He had it in the bag, and he sent the bag along, so you can see you can actually see.
Oh my God!
The wheels,
the tire tracks on this thing.
So sad.
It's very, very ugly.
So he wasn't going to get the laptop back. I think he knew that, but there was data on there he wanted to have.
Yeah, he had a lot of files that he'd been working on. And investment data and what have you, so he sent that in to us. The drive was, I could say it was compressed, but not the way that you normally compress your files.
It was a pancake.
It was a pancake. So we had to go in and disassemble the drive in our clean room and pull out the platters and reassemble the drive. And we have parts for about 10,000 drives at Drive Savers, many of which that are no longer made, so we could put the thing back together and get the data.
So if the platters where the data are stored are intact, you could put them in a whole new enclosure.
Right, yeah. Most of the time we like to leave the platters in the original housing. We don't like to take them out and swap them out. A lot of people are under the impression that all we do is take the platters out.
Right.
But the platters are precision aligned in the factory, so if there's more than one platter, you could lose that alignment in the process of removing them.
So you've got, this is why it's $1,000 or more, because every issue is different, and you probably have a lot of different strategies that you've used over the last almost 20 years to figure out how to get this stuff.
Right, exactly. We have our own proprietary hardware and software that we've developed over the years. We spent a lot lot of money on research and development, purely in the case of getting the data back. That's all we're concerned about. That's all we do.
Were you the first guys to do this? There are other companies that do it.
No, we're one of the pioneers in the data recovery industry. There was only one other company that started at the same time that we did, which is a company known as Kroll On Track. So we're really kind of the two companies out there that started this business.
Yeah. Do you get 100% recovery rate?
It varies with every job, of course. We'd love to say it's 100% and that you're going to get it back, even if it's been run over by a truck. But the fact of the matter is we can't get all data back.
Yeah.
We're not always
Nobody's
successful.
Yeah.
Right.
But most of the time, it's actually surprising how much of the data you can get back and how often you can get it back.
Yeah, typically it's in an 80 or 90% range where we can get data back.
That's just amazing. Ever had a problem with getting too much data back?
Well, too much data back? Sure, there's always a problem getting too much data back, because when we go through a drive and do a data recovery, we're going to get stuff that's not only your current data, but we'll probably get stuff that's been deleted.
You thought it was safely gone. You thought you'd covered your tracks. And apparently not. Their drive savers have recovered it.
Yeah, the data still lives on the drive until it's overwritten.
Hey, let me ask you this, and this is just off the wall. We always talk about how if you're going to give away a computer or sell a hard drive, you should erase it and everything. How hard is it to recover data that's been erased or a hard drive that's been reformatted or partitioned?
It depends on how the drive's been erased. There are tools out there now that you can get, lots of shareware downloads and what have you, commercial programs too, that overwrite the data on the drive. And that's very, very important if you're going to be giving the computer away or selling it on eBay or what have you.
Yeah.
Because most of the time, for example, using the Windows operating system, when you go in and reinstall your OS before you sell it, the data that's on that drive is still there.
It's hidden.
It's hidden, but it's still there.
It's still there. Good to know. And if you ever get hit by a Mac truck, it's good to know Drive Savers is still there. Look at that. It's amazing you were able to... You got all his data back?
Everything came back.
That's amazing.
100%.
Wow. How much did it cost him? A few thousand?
A couple bucks.
It's worth it. I'm telling you, if you have to have it, that's the company called drivesavers.com. For more information about hard drive 911, we've got it on the website at callforhelptv.com. John, I'm so glad you could come to Toronto and be part of Call for Help. It's so nice to have you here.
Thanks so much, Uncle Leo.
Okay. Nephew John, come back, won't you? When we come back, more of your phone calls. Stick around. Call for Help continues right after this. Wasn't it amazing that hot? Can you just imagine? Your life is in that laptop. It goes skittering across the street. A truck goes. I mean, it's almost like a movie. You can see it in slow motion. It goes skittering across the street. The truck goes. Boom. Oh, yeah, it hurts. It's physical pain. Or maybe it's just that your water wings are on too tight. You might want to loosen those. Yes, back.
I've been hit by a truck before. It's not that bad.
Yeah, you look like
that
you were hit by a truck.
explains a lot.
We now know. Let's get another call on the line. Do you have anybody for me, Monica?
I wish I could tell you, but my laptop's
busted. Oh, no.
We have Andy from Birmingham, Alabama.
Hey, Andy, welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm fine. How are you, Leo?
I'm great. Thanks for joining us. What can I do for you?
Underneath the start button, my run command has disappeared, and I'd like to get it back.
Oh, no! Heaven forfend! The run command is very useful. There's lots of things. In fact, I'm going to show you how to get it back, and then I'll show you some things you can do with the run command. Well, let's see. Wait a minute. The start button, and then the... Wait a minute. Mine's gone, too. Holy cow. How do we get that back? Well, it's actually a buried setting. Windows, one of the things that really makes this job great is Microsoft's made it so hard to figure out how to do anything on Windows. They hide stuff so deep. So what I just did there was I right-clicked on an empty space on the taskbar and I selected Properties to load the taskbar and Start Menu Properties. And I'm going to click Start Menus tab, and I'm going to press the Customized button. Let's count. Wait a minute. Let's count how many clicks. 1 click, 2 clicks, 3 clicks, 4 clicks, 5 clicks to go to the advanced menu, and I'm going to scroll down here, and it's going to have a little entry. These are all things you probably didn't even... Some of them are great. Like, for instance, I like to turn on display as menu for things like my music and my pictures, so I can browse that from the menu. But right down here, there's a checkbox for run command. That's 6 clicks, 7 clicks for OK, 8 clicks for OK. So 8 clicks later, the run command is back. you'd have to know where to look. And the truth is, even if you know, you'd have to remember. So there it is. Now, what do you do with your run command?
Well, I like to do some of y'all's registry tweaks, so I need to get to regedit.
Yep. And there's no icon for regedit, so you click the run command, and what that does is it puts a little box up here that you can enter commands into, like in your case, regedit. We do that a lot, and that opens the registry editor. Let's do some more things we can do with the run command. There's lots of fun things you can do with the run command. For instance, you can open a command line with CMD, and that gives you access to a bunch of useful things you can do only from the command line. Let me close regedit. You can see the command line. I'll show you some other things. There's other hidden programs you can't access. For instance, if you ever wanted to use NetMeeting, there's no icon for NetMeeting, but if you type conf in the run command, NetMeeting is still around, believe it or not. Even in Windows XP, you can launch it that way for compatibility reasons. Give you some more things. There is a control panel that is very, very useful to use with let me see if I can remember it. It's control, user, passwords, 2, I believe. Let's see if that works. Yeah. This is a control panel that more people wish they had access to. There's no way to get it except for through the run command that allows you to do some advanced things to your user accounts, manage your passwords, secure login, so forth. You got one, Andy, that you like to do with the run command?
One of my favorite was two, actually, favorite things that I like to do. One is the MS config.
Oh, I forgot MS config. Very handy. MSCONFIG. And that opens the Microsoft System Configuration utility. That's how we can control our startup. What else?
But I also like to sometimes browse the web that way. You can actually type an HTTP command in there. You can browse other computers if you know their IP address by typing.
Yeah, you showed us that the other day.
Yeah.
Or even just do C:, and it'll show you the contents of your hard drive. So that run command is actually very useful. That's how you get it back, though, Andy. It's in the System and Taskbar properties, okay?
Okay, thank you very much.
Hey, I thank you for calling. It's a great question. It gave us a chance to have some fun with Run. Coming up, Monica's going to show us how to tune up our PCs online. But first, our quiz question of the day. One last chance to take it. Go to the website and answer this question. The precursor to the modern Internet. Before there was the Internet, there was Skynet, Lynx, ARPANET, or HairNet. Get to the website, give us the answer. One of those is definitely wrong. We'll talk about it when we come back.
I know.
Welcome back to Call for Help. Before the break, we asked you, what was the precursor, the forerunner to the modern Internet? It was ARPANET, the Advanced Research Project, Advanced Research Projects.
Something or other.
It was the Defense Department's network. That's who set up the Internet first. U.S. Department of Defense. ARPANET. I hope you got that right. Yeah. It's their Department of Defense Advanced Research Project
Network.
ARPA.
Oh. Associate honor.
I don't know.
I'll look it up.
Association. I don't think. Look it up.
Yeah, look it up.
That's what the Internet's for. Or the ARPANET. Right. Hey, just like our cars, our computers will need tune-ups after some time. They get slow and low and something wrong with them. Monica's pulled up to an online computer mechanic to get her PC tuned up, and she's here to tell us all about it.
Yeah, it's a wonderful site called PCPitstop.com.
A bunch of guys in coveralls run up and do your tires?
Actually, they do. Yeah. Yeah, and look what happened. No.
We get a lot of mileage out of that. Yeah, we should keep that around. So PCPitstop.com.
Yeah, PCPitstop.com.
What does it do?
If you go on the site, it'll do an online diagnostic test on your computer. And it'll look for problems and suggest ways for you to improve the performance of your computer.
Well, let's run a test. Now, this computer's pretty slow, yeah?
Yeah, actually, I ran a test on this a couple of days ago.
I bet it came out very poorly. I'm just guessing.
Not so bad.
Really?
Actually, I did some screenshots of...
Because I thought Hayden had messed this thing all up.
Oops. Oh, yeah. See, what ended up happening is during my test...
Yeah. Now, this requires ActiveX.
Yes, actually, you do have to download that. And if you're not with IE, if you're with Firefox,
you
Mozilla,
got to use IE.
A plugin called Neptune.
Oh, will allow you to use it on Firefox?
Yeah.
Oh, you got to show us that
I did that on Firefox.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I did
this
on Firefox, and I did the test on
Maybe that's why you're getting the blank screen there, because it's doing something strange.
Yeah, so I had to guess, actually.
Where do I click here?
It was actually funny, because I did the test with one of our tech PAs, Simon.
And it worked, though, right? It worked? Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually pretty good at guessing.
You guessed the right area to click.
Yeah, and my results.
So what does it tell you?
I had some minor problems with my the disk, the drives, and the internet.
So
not so bad.
That's what those yellow flags are?
Yep, and the little checkered flags means it's in excellent condition.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, now that's interesting because this faster computer didn't do
Yeah, I know.
well.
We did the test over here. So if
Let me switch over to this one. So your computer did very well, checkered flags in almost all areas. I got checkered flags, red flags and yellow flags and everything, practically.
Let's scroll down here.
Look at this. Terrible.
Oh, my gosh.
Terrible. And even a red flag. What does a red flag mean?
A red flag is a serious problem.
Oh,
so we have a serious problem with our memory.
Now, in this case, it's not that it didn't have enough memory because, in fact, it has 768 megs.
Oh.
But it says that the memory is slower than similar computers. And that was what's kind of cool about this, is it actually isn't... The reason this computer, the Toughbook, did well is compared to comparable computers. So they're comparing it to comparable computers.
Yeah.
So how it fits in with its class. Well, that makes sense. You wouldn't want to compare it against some speed demon. Right?
Yeah, so, it's a good website. It talks you through it. It's easy to figure out, and the test is like that.
Does it figure out whether you have viruses or stuff like that, or just things like how the subsystems are working?
Yeah.
All that?
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you, Monica.
Oh, you're welcome.
PC Pitstop. You would recommend
Pitstop. Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
And there's another site too called PC Bug Doctor. But you actually have to download a program in order to do the test, and you have to pay for them to actually fix the problem.
PC Pitstop's free.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stick with PC Pitstop. And look at that, we're running just fine.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Monica.
You're welcome, Leo.
Let's get another caller on there. You got one?
Yep, we actually have a Netcam caller, and it's Richard from Peterborough, Ontario.
All right, let me get over to my Netcam caller area. Hello, Richard. How are you?
Not too bad, Leo. How are you? Welcome to Canada.
I'm doing great. How are things in Peterborough?
Drying out now.
How close to Toronto is that?
About 90 miles northeast of Toronto.
Oh, all right. Well, I'm on my way up. You got you got it dried out since the flood?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
we got
good.
the fishing ready for you.
Oh, that's great. Who's that behind you there?
That'd be my wife.
Well, hello, wife. She probably doesn't know she's on. She's just kind of spying on this.
Doesn't.
Well, let me see her face. Get her to duck down a little bit here. We want to see her. What's her name?
That's Feeny.
Hi. What is it?
Feeny.
Feeny?
Just a minute, I'll zoom up the cam a bit.
Oh, okay. Well, what can we do for the Richards and Feenies in Peterborough?
Well, I'm looking at upgrading from Windows XP to XP Home to XP Professional. And I was wondering if it was worth the upgrade.
Probably not. Microsoft has a site that will tell you all about this and if you just go to Google and you do a search for XP Pro and Home Compare. Let me do this on the Microsoft site. You'll actually get a checklist of the differences. The big difference between XP Home. Let me just enter this in. Home and Pro comparison. And I'm going to do a little thing that says it's got to be on the site Microsoft.com. That's kind of a handy little feature of Google. If you do site : and then the name of the site you're searching for, it'll only search that site. So that way I'll find this very quickly, the XP Home Edition Comparison Guide. You'll find, if you look at these dots on the comparison guide, that the areas of difference really are mostly where business would care most. For instance, XP Pro can do it can host a remote desktop connection, but XP Home can't. By the way, XP Home can connect with a Pro computer. It just can't host a connection. Same thing, you can't have offline files and folders on a network share. Well, I don't know many home users who care about that. Now, a big difference if you have a multiprocessor, and that might be one thing. Some home users have double processor machines. That would be one reason to go to XP Pro.
The only thing I have is hyperlink.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry. No, it'll work. Hyper-threading will work just fine with XP Home. An encrypting file system or access control.
Here.
Yeah, no, I think most of this stuff, group policy, roaming user profiles, this is all business stuff, not stuff that a home user would worry about. I'd say stick with Home, unless
I actually have both copies.
Oh, all right. Well, then upgrade to Pro if you want. I mean, it's certainly not going to hurt. The one thing that you might want, I like, is the encrypting file system. I think that's a nice feature. Because then you can right-click on a folder and say encrypt this folder, or right-click on a disk, say encrypt this disk. It's unlocked when you're logged in. As soon as you log off, nobody else can read those files.
Yeah, I know. I realize that you use XP Pro all the time on your shows. Is that because of the network?
You know, it's just because that's what we installed. I think we have XP Home on one machine and XP Pro on one machine. There's no, I guess because also if somebody asks me about an XP Pro feature, I'll have it installed. But the truth is XP is Home Plus, so that way I have the full feature set. But there's no other reason to use it. If you've got both, you could install it. I don't see any reason to.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, and thanks to your wife, who has now disappeared. Thank you, Richard. She said, this is all too geeky for me. When we come back, we'll tell you how you can get on our show. We want you to be one of our callers on Call for Help. Stick around. We'll tell you how. Stay right here. Keep playing with that truck run over laptop. You like that? Don't mess with it too much. You got to put it in the museum. You know, they have a museum at Drive Savers.
Oh.
Of all the laptops with the weirdest. You know, there's one that was sank to the bottom of the Amazon River. And the woman.
Sopranos get it?
Well, this was it's an interesting story because a woman was on a boat on Amazon. It dropped overboard, and she died. She went back and dived to get it, even though it's illegal to do so. Oh. Turn that around so they can get a good shot of it. This is the one that with the 18-wheeler hit. Oh, but they have that. They have one that a bullet went through the hard drive. There's a lot of interesting. It's fun. Oh, the museum. If you ever get down to Novato, California,
that would be an interesting one.
Yeah, it's quite a thing to see. We got an email. Actually, this was going to be a call that we were going to do on the show today from Chad in Englehart, Ontario. Unfortunately, he had a family emergency, couldn't make it on the show. But I thought I'd ask the question, and actually we can answer it too. So I like it for that reason. He says he has a Wi-Fi network running Windows XP, and every once in a while it just stops working. He'll have 5 bars, but he won't have connectivity. And actually, I've started to see that question quite a bit. It's a fairly common question with XP. And in fact, so much so that Wired News wrote an article about 2 months ago. Microsoft says there's no problem, but a lot of people are reporting it. It turns out people think that there's a problem with the wireless zero config, which Microsoft added in a service pack to Windows XP to make it easier to get onto wireless networks. The zero config kind of supposedly automatically hooks you up. But the problem is that if there's anything goes wrong with the signal, if there's any interference at all, it's not very robust, and you can actually lose the connection, the partnership, without losing the wireless connectivity. In other words, you'll see 5 bars, but you still won't have access. The workaround, and it apparently works. If you're having, kind of intermittent dropout on your Wi-Fi, have you ever had that happen?
Yeah, on a regular basis.
On a regular basis.
Yeah.
The workaround that's suggested, not by Microsoft because they deny it, but the workaround that's suggested that has worked for many is you go into the Windows XP services and you disable the wireless zero config. You don't need it. It works fine without it. However, it will also eliminate those dropouts.
So, are they going to fix it in the future?
Yeah, of course. What they'll do is they'll deny it, and then they'll slipstream a fix sometime in a service pack, and then all of a sudden it'll work again. But I would try. Why don't you try it? Because I haven't had. I don't use XP that much on Wi-Fi. Yeah. But why don't you try it and see if it fixes it for you?
I will, absolutely.
Yeah, and we'll report back on a later show. Hey, we'd love to get you. Thanks for the question, Chad. By the way. You booted up.
Hey.
You booted up. It worked. The wet laptop worked. Yeah. Hey, if you want to get on the show, we'd love to have you. All you got to do is go to callforhelptv.com, get to our website, fill out the form. Callers are our most important product here at Call for Help. Andy Walker, Monica Latano, I'm Leo Laporte. Thanks for joining us. Remember, if you've got a problem with your person confused, don't whine, don't moan, don't yell.
Call for help.
Call for help. We'll see you later. Have a great day.